Hello, everyone. My name is Hassan Akram, and today I'm here for the fourth podcast with one of the amazing personality. Her name is Izzah Zaineb Siddiqui. Now, before I'm going to let her take the mic, I'm gonna help my audience understand how I was able to approach her for this podcast. So I was scrolling through my LinkedIn profile, and suddenly I saw a video where someone was talking about self-branding, and that topic is something which is very close to my heart. So I thought, why don't I invite her in my podcast, and we can touch base on leadership and personal branding. So Ida, thank you so much for taking out some time for this podcast. It's a pleasure for me to see you here. I want you to introduce yourself to my audience and take it away.
All right. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Hassan. First of all, as you said, my name is Izzah Zaineb Siddiqui. I'm an employer branding consultant, and I've been working in the field of HR, content, and marketing for the last 10 years. I'm very passionate about personal branding, as you rightly said. It's something that I believe that everybody should be doing in this era. And something that I'm very passionate about, again, is students taking up personal branding and really looking at the world from their own perspective. So thank you for having me here.
Great, great. Good to know. All right, Izan, let's jump straight to a lot of questions I have for you. So I'm actually super excited to get the answers on those questions. So, okay, so story time. What's the plot twist that got into HR and company's culture? Was it destiny, desperation, or really a good Excel sheet?
Okay, that's a good one. What got me into HR? I think the moment I, decided that I'm going to be doing my BBA, I was very sure that I'm going to be going into HR. In fact, there were multiple times in my, in my academics where my teachers said that, is, you kind of have that marketer, outlook, and you have that vibe. So maybe you should go towards marketing as your majors. This one time, my course counselor also invited me to his office, and he was like, "As I've been told that you're taking up HR. How could you? Come on, this is wrong. This feels like a betrayal. You are so a marketing person." And I just sat there listening to him, and I was like, why do you say that? So it's like, you have that vibe going on. And then also he was like, I feel like you're very creative. HR can't handle creativity like that. And I think, Hassan, that was the point in my academia where I was like, okay, you know what, I'm actually gonna take up HR. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make it be more creative, because if that is the image that HR has in the world in front of people, then that has to change. Because what is HR? It's helping people. It's all about employees, making sure that they live up to their potential. And if you don't put in any creativity in that, there is no human touch. Then there is you're not just pushing the needle where you should. So I feel like that was something that HR wasn't something that just happened to me. I was always passionate about it. And then later on, when I chose employer branding as my career, that's when I decided, okay, so I'm going to really put in the sugar, spice, and everything nice into HR, and make it about marketing and communications as well. Because, and I'm so sorry, I'm this answer of mine is getting really long, but I need to tell you this, that HR and marketing and communications there's always been this certain sense of rivalry amongst these departments, right? And I felt that if you just lift up that barrier, if you really collaborate between these departments, the company could really use that sort of energy. And that exactly, that intersection is where employer branding happens. And I chose it
Wow.
very strategically.
Yes, yes, I like that. I think your teacher was right that by the looks of you and the way you're speaking, I think you were a best fit for marketing, yeah, but you're in HR. So I think combination of these two, I can really see the power in these combinations. So interesting,
Thank you.
interesting. Good to know. Okay. When someone says personal brand, do you roll your eyes or do you secretly love it? What does it really mean to you?
I never roll my eyes when someone says personal brand, because that's what I'm very passionate about. I do think that the narrative around it these days, it's kind of fuzzy, because now that people understand the power of personal branding, they're more tilted towards the power. They're more attracted towards the power that personal branding holds than actually the intent behind it, right? So
Mhm.
I'm very happy with the fact that the world is progressing in a way that people are now holding on to their perspectives. But yes, I do believe that there has to be, we need to lift the fuzz off of it and really bring clarity towards what truly is personal branding.
Great, good perspective. But I think I like the perspective that you're saying that people really like the idea, but the intent of and the essence of it is really different. Got it.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. What do you think? Why is personal branding suddenly the Beyonce of the job market, especially after COVID turned the world into Zoom skippers?
Yeah, so I mean, you're so right about this that a personal branding has certainly become the Beyonce of the world, very rightly put, and that too after COVID. So if you really like look into it, if you zoom into what happened in the COVID era, was that a people were losing jobs, and then b the world actually became a global village. You could get a job, you would be sitting in Pakistan and you could get a job in the US very easily via your LinkedIn, right? So that was happening because everybody was, working from homes. And the world had suddenly accepted the fact that you could actually work from home. Now, given that you could work from home, all that, that sentiment around, okay, you have to be in the office physically, and that all of that was being discarded. Then what was happening? Your digital presence had to be like you had to be a superstar on your social media handles to be able to get that sort of attention. So I think yes, that's why personal branding became the Beyonce of the world after COVID, because then everybody was going through your LinkedIn or your Instagram, or for that matter, because I believe now personal branding is not just, if even professionally, people would look at your Facebook as well, not just
Yeah.
LinkedIn. So now people are like, okay, so if that's what it takes, then we're ready to take up the challenge and really be superstars and celebrities on our LinkedIn handles. Why not? And good for them.
Yeah, I do have a story to share, my personal story. So I think whatever you put on social media platform, that will become your brand identity. So when I started using Facebook, I used to upload a lot of stuff pertaining to iPhones and all that. And people started seeing me as someone who is iPhone guru. But I was like, I'm just putting it for my interest. Then I started uploading stuff pertaining to fitness, and a lot of people approached me to become their personal trainer. I was like, no, I'm doing it for myself, not for you guys. Come on. And then lastly, when I joined Toastmasters, I used to upload a lot of stuff pertaining to my projects in Toastmasters. A lot of people started seeing me as a motivational speaker, though I don't claim I'm one. I don't have intent to be one, but just because I was uploading stuff pertaining to whatever I was doing a lot, people started seeing that as my personal brand. So you're spot on. People do look at your Facebook. People do make assumption based on what you upload and have some point of view about your personality. And yeah, that's great. Okay, moving on.
Thank you for
Right.
that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Isa, be honest. When you're hiring someone, does someone's online presence ever make or break a deal for you? Or like, have you ever stalked a LinkedIn profile and said, "Yes, this guy's in"?
110%. I think gone are the days where your resume was the only thing that was holding you, up for a job. Nowadays, if your LinkedIn isn't, I'm not gonna say that you're going to be if you're not like stellar on your LinkedIn. It's not like that. If you're not active on your LinkedIn, that's fine. That's doable. We can take that. But if your LinkedIn is dead, it's totally dead. Like you haven't updated your profile. Your experience is just like you've just put up like your job headline. There's no bio section. There's no, you haven't really put up like your experience, wherever you're working at, whatever job you haven't told, you're not telling the world what kind of impact you're bringing. Then your LinkedIn is really dead, and that kind of gives a very dull vibe. It's not a vibe that I would want to hire, because now you're not just hiring people, you're hiring a vibe, you're hiring someone who's going to be part of the overall energy of the company that you have, right? So 110% LinkedIn is something that I look at when I'm hiring someone.
You're right. I think it's an empty LinkedIn profile is like a house without furniture, right? And you're spot on. But guys, my audience, if you want to optimize your LinkedIn profile, you can go to my LinkedIn. There's a online recorded session where you can learn how to optimize your profiles. I agree with Izzah that your LinkedIn profile plays a vital role. There are some techniques which definitely you can Google, or maybe you can learn from both of us, and connect with us on LinkedIn and learn how to optimize your profile. Okay, Isa, I'm gonna switch in between some leadership questions too. I hope you're ready for that, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Okay.
sure.
Have you seen examples where strong personal branding actually helped someone step into a leadership role faster?
Myself.
Okay.
I use personal branding 110%. I'm very open about it to kind of accelerate my career. You know, offline, just now I was telling you how I was able to do that. It's a long story, so I'm not going to repeat it. But yes, personal branding 110%, I would say, helped me go 5 years ahead of my time in my career, on my career ladder.
And would you like to share few things which you did right at that time?
Sure, sure. Okay. So, I always say that I move with intent. Uh, what does personal branding essentially do for you? It brings clarity on who you are as a person, right? What kind of values you have, what sort of life do you want for yourself, who do you want to surround yourself in terms of people, energy, vibe, right? And what are you willing to give up in order to achieve all of that? So, it's very simple for me. So when I did that for myself, because I understood that with 3 kids, there was no way in hell that I could do a 9 to 5 job. All right. And I also understood that I did not have the sort of experience to become a leader, an HR leader, just there and then. So I said, okay, let's see, where is the gap? What is it that the world of HR needs right now? Let me really do my research. And before that I did a research on myself. What am I really interested in? Who am I? What are my values? All of that. And then I was like, okay, you know what? They were right who said that I do have a spark in me as a marketer. They were right who said that I'm good at communication. But HR is my passion. How do I mix all of that up? And then I started looking it up, and then I came across employer branding, and I said, okay, I'm going to learn it, and then I'm going to, embark, and I'm going to be giving that knowledge away too on LinkedIn, obviously free of cost. When you're doing something on LinkedIn, it's always free of cost,
Yeah.
but then it
Yeah.
invites the right sort of people in your circle. And that's what I started doing. And that's when it clicked. Someone who is a leader in the industry right now reached out to me, and he said, you know what, I see potential in you come work with me as a partner. So it didn't just happen overnight. I wouldn't
Nice.
say that it's just going to happen overnight for you. You're going to have to do the dirty work. You'll have to sit with yourself, ask those, really challenging questions, and then you'll have to do research on how to get there. But when you know where you are and where you want to get, the journey just becomes very easy in between.
Amazing. I think you're right. If one should reflect back, understand what you want to give to the audience, and revolve your content around that, and definitely someone will see and approach you. Spot on. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Isa, you work closely with employee experience. How can leaders shape culture in a hybrid or remote work environment where connection is limited?
I'm so sorry. I didn't get that question. Could you please repeat?
Okay. So you work
Yeah.
closely with employee experience and branding and all that.
Yeah.
So my question
Yeah.
is, how can leaders shape culture in a hybrid model where
Right.
yeah, connection is limited? Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that how can we leverage employee experience and connection, just connection with our employees when you're working in a hybrid working model, because you
Yeah.
don't get that sort of face
Yeah.
time, physical face time with your
Yes.
employees anymore. That's
Yes.
a good one, and I would say definitely. So the thing is that the world as we know right now has completely changed after COVID, right? So
Yeah.
companies understand that. What was the reason? Why would companies want for their employees to be in the office from 9 to 5? The one thing that was most important was trust. there was a trust deficit between the employer and employee, that if the employee is not in the office, this person is not really giving it, their 100% to their jobs. So that just kind of, was taken away because of the whole COVID thing, and, how people had to work from their home. So the trust factor was built. So now employee experience is much better because companies understand how to work around it. So I'll just give you an example. For example, if your employees, you believe that there is a certain lag in how the people in the organization are working at the pace at which they're working, and the people who are working from their homes, companies are doing huddles, morning huddles. Okay, they'll say, okay, there's going to be a certain day where we're going to meet up, and we'll share that vibe. We're still really, obviously I'm not going to use the word family because there's there's a whole toxic thing attached with it now, but they do realize. Yeah, I was this close to saying family. We're still a family. No, we're not a family. But yeah, we're still a team. Yeah, team is a better word. And that we can do it now, and an employee experience is made better inherently because of, that credit goes to COVID. But the whole thing is about trust. If the trust factor is good, employee will do their job, employee experience overall will be better because the communication part because of trust, will be better. If the employee cannot work from home because they have to go to the hospital or whatever, they will let the employer know. And similarly with the employer. So it's like, a give and take situation.
Spot on. And I think you're right. At the end of the day, it's all about, as a leader, making people realize that why this work is important. I think at the same time, it's our duty as a leader to coach them and to make them realize that being honest and by being trustworthy is very important. Otherwise, things can go south, and you never know what's going to happen next. So, spot on.
Yeah,
Okay. Have
accountability
you?
is obviously very
Yes.
important. So sorry.
Yeah. And then it's okay. It's okay. And when you talked about morning hurdles, evening hurdles, and all that, so I mean, as a leader, I see a lot of other people, other fellow leaders, doing morning hurdles, evening hurdles, shift and hurdles. I was like, dude, give them some life to do their job. Personally, I think you should develop a culture of trust that I think one hurdle is enough for them to
Morning
understand
huddle.
their
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And after that, I let them go. And if they want any help, they can always contact me, huddle with me, and I can be there to help them. But a lot of meeting also shows that you don't trust your employees. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Have you ever helped someone transition from an individual contributor to a leadership role? What was their biggest mindset shift?
So you're asking if I've ever helped someone develop
Yes.
from an individual contributor to a leader, a team leader,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how that mind shift happened. Okay,
Yes.
so when
Yes.
you're working as an individual contributor, the one thing that really motivates you is that whatever you do, you own it, and you are the master of your work. So if you're talented, if you know your craft, you will be able to contribute very nicely to the organization. When you become a team leader, it's more like you're not working, you're helping people do their work in the best way possible, right? And at the same time, there is also a difference between a manager and a team lead. When you're a team lead, you're helping your team really build their expertise and deliver, up to par. But B, also you are a role model. So you're not just really giving away all the responsibility to the team,
Yeah.
but you're also doing part of it by yourself. And that's where the challenge comes in, because you're also doing your work and you're making them do their work. So the mind shift is all about, we're a team. I'm not a sole contributor anymore, right? And that's what I've seen in my career as well, that is the biggest problem. And what they would do is, what, let me do your work. It's okay. You don't want to do it. You can't do it. The overall target of the team is we're really falling behind. So you know what? You take a chill pill. Let me do it for you. So they'll be making all the sales call and making sure, we hit the target. No, you hit the target. We did not hit the target. So the we part is where we train these people is, how to really work in a team, and how to give credit and really work from you. Yes, you're a role model, but you're working from the back, from behind.
Yeah.
It takes time, but it happens, and it's beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful when you see that. Oh wow, finally they're like giving away credit and not just owning all of it. So yeah.
very nice. And I think you're right. And even in today's era, when someone comes to me and asks me that, Hassan, I'm stuck with this problem, help me. My next response to them is, what do you think about this? Because I want to understand your thought process. Eventually, someday you'll become a leader too. So, what do you think about it? Initially, they feel like the manager doesn't know anything about it. That's why he's asking us. But deep inside, my thought process is that I want to develop your thought process. I want to understand how you think about this problem. It's all about triggering or initiating that process in their mind so that they can start thinking about those lines, and eventually this is going to help them become a leader and
That's
get their
beautiful.
life.
Yeah, that's the basis of being a coach, right? You ask questions and you make them come on the line that you want to, the track that you really want them to come on. But the good part is because it has come from them, you've asked them a question and they've answered it. So they really take the accountability part to them. So
And
it's
they
great
feel
if you're doing
empowered too. Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna hit the last question against leadership topic, and then we'll switch back to my personal and your personal brand question. So,
sure.
what one leadership lesson that has stuck with you throughout your career, and how does it connect to who you are as a person?
Yeah. I think the one lesson that I've learned being a leader in this industry is that you have you have to have the heart to take risks, right? You just have to be bold enough to really stick to your perspective. But when you're working with a team, the risk part is not just yours, it's also the team's, right? So when you empower them, you tell them, you know what, take 5 steps ahead, but then you also say, I'm right behind you. You don't miss out on that part. If you are just empowering them to take the risk, because you also believe in their vision, but then you don't, you're not holding their back when they fail, that takes away the trust factor from this whole relationship. So as a leader, and especially in projects where there's a lot of money involved,
Hmm.
the employee, you need to be able to be that leader who says, you go, you do the thing. If we win, the credit is all yours. If you fail, I'm here to catch you. That actually, in its true sense, empowers the employee.
Very nice. I like that perspective. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Switching back to the personal branding questions now. So, what one personal branding mistake that makes you want to say gently to a person, sweetie, no, this is something which you can do?
I love that take. Oh, there's a lot of things actually, Hassan, because in the start of this podcast, I was just telling you how the intent part is missing, and people are
Yeah,
moving towards more towards just the power behind it. So number one thing is, don't just put up stuff for the likes. Don't just do stuff so that you'll get more impressions.
yeah,
Really do the work, really sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what do I truly resonate with? Because the biggest mistake that I've seen on LinkedIn right now is that people are saying one thing, and then in the next post they're saying the complete opposite thing. So there's a certain shift behind their tone, behind their values, and the audience is not stupid. They can see it. They see that, oh, you're just saying something because there's a trend going on for something. So you would never find me downloading videos from Instagram and putting them up on LinkedIn just for the views. I would never do that. Even if I feel like, oh, you know what, this is a good message, I will take, because that content is for LinkedIn. You need to know that content is for Instagram. You need to know the
yeah,
difference between these platforms, right? So if you really like the message behind that reel, you take it, but then you post the content in the way it should be posted on LinkedIn. And here, I'm so sorry, I'm taking more time than I
no, no,
should,
no, it's
but
all
I need
right.
to really
I had this conversation.
clarify, because I am someone who's very transparent on LinkedIn. If you read my content, I'm also someone who writes very casually and speaks very casually as well. And sometimes people don't kind of agree with my tone, but then that's how I am. And that is the identity I've built for myself on LinkedIn. But if one day you are someone who's super sophisticated and graceful, and the next day you start saying, stuff like yeah, words that you might not use, on a general day on LinkedIn, then it really throws off your audience. So similarly, I've seen people with having that sort of image and then posting stuff from LinkedIn, from Instagram Reels onto LinkedIn, and that just doesn't do it for your audience. So don't do that.
I I think you're right. And one more common mistake I've seen people doing on LinkedIn is about their profile picture. I mean, I've seen people posting pictures of their walimas and all that. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
come on. I mean, your picture should be professional. That's your first identity. And I think you're right. The intent part is very important. And I mean, I think a few years back, my intent was to create some videos for LinkedIn about interview skills. A basic video, right? I intend to have a series of that, but I started with just two videos. And guess what? My intent was to help my audience. And I think after a month or so, I got a very big message from someone saying, I owe my success to you. And I was like, how? How you are saying such a big words? And he was like
Lovely.
that. He was like, I was struggling with giving interviews in different companies, and I got rejection with most of the companies. And I came across your video. I followed all the tips, and guess what? I got a job at Procter and Gamble. I was like, what?
Wow.
And
I
the
need to do the
happiness,
session with you.
and then the happiness, it didn't me at that time was out of this world. I cannot
I'm
explain
sure.
how happy I was at that time, and I still have that snapshot with me. I'm gonna show you after this conversation,
Sure.
and I still whenever I read that message, it gives me a lot of happiness, and I was like, finally, I was able to make a difference, even if it's just one person. It does value. It
Yeah.
does matter.
No, no, but it's
So, yeah,
beautiful, and I'm so happy that that happened, because see, that's why I talk about intent and values. The stuff, the content that you're putting up, you have this huge responsibility on your shoulders, because you're not just putting it up for your certain circle of friends, like you would do on Facebook or Instagram if your profiles are private. LinkedIn is a public profile, so you
yeah.
do carry this certain onus of responsibility. So you took it beautifully, and you were posting such helpful stuff, which then came back to you, and you obviously had a very good proud moment, and I'm really proud of you for that.
Thank you. All right. How is AI like Chat GPT, LinkedIn tools, even Canva templates
Yeah.
changing the personal branding game?
Uh, so I love Chat GPT, and I'm so an AI, just overall AI, and I'm very transparent about it. Even in my workshops, I literally teach people how to use AI to your advantage, especially using LinkedIn. And there is a certain bad rap attached to AI, thinking that, oh wow, you're just going to lose your unique voice if you keep using AI. Yes, you will if you're just copy pasting. Yes, you will if you don't know how to use the right prompts. Yes, you will if you are just mindlessly, just going around your life and just doing whatever other people are doing. But if you're using it to your advantage, you would know what kind of prompts to use. You would know how to really call BS on AI and tell it that what they're giving you is not correct. And for that, you need to be an expert of your field. So again, it brings me back to the intent part. It brings me back to the clarity part, that you need to have clarity on what you're about to post, and then really do a brainstorming session with AI, right? And always offer your own perspective. So if your own perspective is missing, that is the biggest red flag that
Yeah.
you need to look for. If you're just saying, hey, ChatGPT, help me write a post on Father's Day. Yeah, bad prompt. Don't do that. If you tell ChatGPT, you know what, this has been my journey. I became a father in 2015. I have 3 kids, or you just tell them about your kids, and then you get that post, and then you look at it, and then you tweak it as per your own language, your own tone. Then way to go, why not? And not just with that, Hassan, it really helps you with making the calendar. If you have been very open to your AI assistant, or just ChatGPT or whatever, you that AI let's just call it tool right here, AI tool would know you like that, that they would create a calendar for you. You can tweak it, and you can set up your other, Canva has AI now.
Yeah.
Everything almost has their AI tools now. So you can use that and make your life easy. Why not?
And I think you're spot on. You talked about prompt engineering, and I think it's high time people should learn the art of prompt engineering. You and I, a lot of people have the same tool, but I think the person who is good with prompt engineering is gonna someone who is gonna use the true potential of these AI tools. So you're spot on that. That it's all about giving your perspective. I see this AI tools as washing machine. You're putting your clothes, spinning it up, and it is giving
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So thank you.
Your own clothes, just clean.
Yeah, all clothes. I'm going to
Yeah,
ask a last question. Though
sure.
I don't want to end this podcast. I love having this conversation with you for hours
Same
and
here.
hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, So okay. Last question is, um, what one piece of personal branding advice you want uh, to give to my audience?
Okay, but there's just not just one piece of advice. There's
Okay.
so many. There's so many.
Okay.
Um, I'll try to make it short,
Mhm.
but the number one thing that you have to do, I'll say it again, know yourself. I see personal branding as your emotional architecture. All right.
Wow.
And within this emotional architecture, the center is your core, yourself, right? So who you are as a person, what values you hold close to your heart that you will never compromise on, who is it that you would like to surround yourself with, uh, on a general day, who are you? Who is a Hassan on a general day where he's sad? How would Hassan act on a sad day? How would Hassan act when he is excited? I know these are questions that one doesn't really ask themselves, but you just need to have an open heart and open mind to see your own behaviors. So when you actually start talking about yourself online like that, the right people will resonate with you. No one should be calling you out as a fake person. You have to be authentic, but you can only be authentic if you've really dived deep down within your emotional architecture, as I like to call it. First advice. Secondly, don't wait. If you watch my other podcast that I've done like 2-3 years ago, or even one year ago, I would tell people that just make your LinkedIn profile and follow the right people, and just see how they are behaving, how they're moving on LinkedIn. No, now I say don't do that. Don't wait for the right time. If you know yourself, if you've done the internal work, start posting. It could be a one liner, it could be a quote that you have come across that you really resonate with, but don't be afraid to post, right? And I say it not just because I've come this far, or I'm talking to you who are so confident about personal branding as well. I say it because LinkedIn is not the same as it was 2 years ago even.
Correct.
Okay. So people are not going to judge you for talking about your values anymore. They're going to praise you. And once you know how we say, because you said that with offline, you were telling me how you are a gym fanatic, you're into fitness and all. So you start getting even more even crazier about gymming and all when you start seeing the results. So it's the same with personal
Yeah.
branding. When you start doing it, you start attracting the right audience, you start getting confident, but it won't happen if you keep on waiting. And I want to say the last one. I'm so sorry.
Sure. No, take your time. I love this. I love
One
this.
last, one last piece of advice would be that it doesn't always have to be about your profession. You know, whatever you're sharing on LinkedIn, it doesn't always. If you're in HR, you're not under any obligation that you have to only talk about HR. Okay,
Mm.
you can talk about anything that you saw on the road maybe, and you felt that you learned something from it, and you would see how people will resonate, because LinkedIn, like I said, is more human now. It is more forgiving now, so you get to
Yeah.
do that. So yeah, I think just be human, just be you, be authentic, and have fun while you're at it. Do the internal work first.
I love this. I love this advice. Very nice. And I normally tell people that start using LinkedIn as you use Facebook, but I'm not saying in that perspective. Just like you spend a lot of time opening up the Facebook ad and scrolling through, spend the same time, open up your phone, open the LinkedIn app, and start learning from people and start posting for people. So I think
Yeah.
that was great. Thank you so much, Izzah Zaineb Siddiqui. It was lovely having you in my show. I totally enjoyed it, and I must say this is one of the best episodes I've recorded so far. So
Thank you.
thank
I
you
had
so
a
much.
really good time too. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone.